been having insomnia for the last few days, and my big sister suggested to sleep upside down. Try a different position. Maybe that would help. It worked for the first day, but then it... My God, I've been living in this apartment for 4 months now. Time passes by so fast. 4 years ago, in this area that I moved in, I had my first panic attack. I was invited to do this speaking engagement at this event. So I flew into Los Angeles from Canada, where I lived before. I did my presentation and met a lot of people that day. During that day, my schedule was so packed that I was on an adrenaline rush. When that happens, I kind of lose my appetite. I just can't seem to eat. During that time, I was talking to this girl. I've told this story before, but with this girl, we just started off as friends, and over time, I grew feelings. It never really got intimate. We would just call each other in the evening to chat. We'd say good morning or good night. At one point, we even held hands. Then at one point, we were in a car ride with some of her friends that I didn't really know that much. But one person mentioned her having a boyfriend. She never told me she had a boyfriend. The next day, I talked to her about it, and she just told me that things were complicated in that relationship, and that's why she never told me. Nonetheless, it was difficult to take in. I just wanted to have my space once I learned that. Turns out, a few weeks later, it just coincidentally happened that she was also invited to the event that I was attending. When I was done doing my speaking engagement at this event, she texted me to meet up at this coffee shop where she was at with some of her friends. We haven't seen each other in a while, so when I got to the coffee shop, I tried to make things seem not awkward, even though it was a little bit. I started talking to her friends, but the whole time she was ignoring me, and even eye contact was a little strange, which made me really uncomfortable. I guess at that moment, I started to overthink and my hands started shaking. Suddenly, a wave of emotion started to hit me out of nowhere. I covered my face with my hands and I realized I was starting to tear up. It was such a weird feeling, I couldn't control it. Luckily, I went with a friend of mine and she saw that I wasn't looking too good. She said my face turned pale. We ended up leaving. Everybody saw that whole commotion. I later realized that, and that same day, I woke up at 4 a.m. I took a flight to do the speaking engagement. Adrenaline rush all day. I didn't eat. And then I ended up in a very uncomfortable situation. So my emotions caught on to me. Thankfully, it's my first and last panic attack I've ever had. The weird thing that happened was when I moved here a few months ago, I passed by this same coffee shop and my heart started pounding. All these flashbacks of that day came back to me. It was so strange because I've definitely moved on. It made me realize how certain traumas are so powerful in your subconscious. This neighborhood used to remind me of something bad that happened to me. I realized with certain traumas that it's not about telling yourself that it never happened. It took a little bit of effort, but I've created so many new amazing memories these days that it made that bad memory lose its power. It became so small and less significant that now I can live with it. Also, luckily for me, the girl and I today are still really good friends. She's a sweet person. I recognize she also had her demons. It was a learning experience, but everything worked out. Whoa, you're hungry? Down. Ah, my neighbor told me to babysit his cat. Guess who's allergic to cats? It's fine, I just can't touch him. I just touched him. I was specifically asked to keep him company for a little bit. To be honest, not really sure if I liked him at first. What? There was an evening. I saw this thing open a door. Okay, so last year I liked this girl, but I was going through some difficult times, so I never really expressed my feelings to her, and long story short, she ended up getting a boyfriend, and I ended up heartbroken. You know, typical. When it comes to getting over somebody, I used to have my friends and family to help me cope with my emotions or help me distract me from them, but now I moved to this new city, and my usual support system is not there with me, so I didn't know how to cope. So not long after, I met this new girl, and I don't know if I was in the right headspace, but by the end of the night, we were making out. That felt really weird saying out loud. I haven't been in a relationship in 10 years, which means I also haven't kissed anybody for a while, 10 years. And it's not like I didn't want to, it just my mind was preoccupied by other things. I also didn't really kiss a random girl. It was my neighbor's coworker. All of us went to the restaurant. I ended up sitting next to the coworker, and we kind of bonded over getting over a heartbreak. After we ate, we ended up going to this bar, and we all drank a little bit. The music was, oh, my wallet. No, I put my wallet in the washer. Oh no, everything's wet. Here's the thing, the music was really loud. I'm just gonna blame it on that. So in order to communicate, we had to be this close to each other's face. Next thing you know, we brushed each other's cheeks, and then we ended up kissing. But I didn't necessarily have any feelings for her, and I don't think she did either. After that happened, I thought, maybe this would help me move on and lessen the pain. Kinda like a rebound, I guess. Not really, because I didn't really intentionally. And then a few days later, the girl I like posted on social media, and I realized that it still hurts. So I don't really think the concept of a rebound really works. At least not for me. It did serve as a reminder to myself that I'm still very adamant about finding somebody that I could be with for the long term. That type of casual hookup wasn't necessarily me. Like it's not what I care for. Don't get me wrong, I don't really regret it. I just found it surprising because it's really unlike me to do that. But oh well. What the? Hello, tu dors?
Je suis déjà dans mon lit, là. Pourquoi?
Ben, je vais te montrer mon pâté chinois.
Ok.
Tada!
Des tiki, c'est quoi?
Ouais, honnêtement, c'est trop. Je pense que ça m'a pris 3 heures. J'ai juste mangé 2 morceaux de pain aujourd'hui. Pourquoi tu dors aussitôt?
Ben, il est déjà 10h30.
C'est quoi, tu peux venir me visiter à Los Angeles?
Je check tes billets, là.
Je te manque?
Ben, j'ai des vacances.
Ok. Bon, je te laisse, je vais manger parce que je vais bien m'évanouir.
Ok, c'est beau. À
Ok.
demain.
Bonne nuit.
Bye.
Bisous, je t'aime. Bye. When it comes to love, it's not like I'm so scared of it that I'll push it away if the right person comes. It's not like I have a list of criterias that the person I end up with needs to have. Which, by the way, I used to have. There's always this thing when people ask you about preferences, like, do you want to be with somebody that's a little shorter or taller than you? A little younger or older than you? If you want to end up with a specific ethnicity or even religion? All these questions are kind of fair. It serves a little bit as guidance. But then the last 2 people that I was attracted to didn't look like anything on that list. So I just took that list and threw it in the trash. I don't know exactly what I want. The funny thing is, my older sister's situation is the exact opposite of me. She met this boy when she was 15, and then they both grew feelings for one another at the age of 16, but then nothing happened. They went their separate ways, went to college, and then 3 years later, at the age of 19, they bumped back into each other at a mutual friend's birthday party. Then they started dating, and 10 years later, this year, they're getting married. And it was her first boyfriend, so just like that, I got a brother-in-law. You know, I really admire my sister's relationship, so I guess by default, I do have high standards. I truly believe that there's somebody out there for me that is gonna make me happy. And listen, I'm aware that no relationship is perfect. 2 people from 2 different upbringings coming together. Like, of course there's gonna be arguments here and there. It's inevitable. And then communication is gonna come into play and test the couple. I'm aware that love is a verb, that both parties need to put in the effort to make things work. I just wanna be with somebody that will love me for who I am, and then vice versa. I want to be that person for somebody else. The last thing I want is to settle with somebody that doesn't see me for my full worth. My neighbor invited me to this thing. Not really sure what it is, but I gotta go.